here. Thank you so much for joining. Just having some lighting fun and games. You might see a little bit of changing with the lighting in the background as we're working together today. All right, everybody. So happy to be here and be sharing with you. You guys have asked some wonderful questions about everything underneath the sun, and I'd like to tackle some of those for you. And we're going to dive in and do a group session. So I already gave a little bit away. The topic is living your truth, and the part that I gave away on that is that it's, well, about embracing your inner rebel. So if that sounds like fun to you, then let's dive in. Okay, so we'll get into that in just a moment. If you are watching from your home or another location, I'd love to know where you are. Just drop me a little comment, say hi, and let me know where you're from. I always like to see the global reach. I've had people on the calls in the past from like 3 different continents, and that was really fun just to witness that global reach that this work can have. So I mentioned that we're going to get into that session. Just real quick, because you guys have been asking questions, let me talk first, though, briefly about what underneath the sun is. Pardon me, everything underneath the sun is the official title. So the main question that I got is, how is that subscription different from Buddhas and Butterflies subscription? So everything underneath the sun gives you full access to every single workshop I have on the entire site. And there's over 40 of them. And the list is so not small. There are topics covering energetic cleanses for every single body part. Those that have gone over really well in the past. Those are fan favorites. The other fan favorites are, I'll just mention a few of them, can't get into all 40 of them online, are money, wealth, and valuing yourself. That one has been a total game changer for people in terms of not having money to even pay rent, to within 6 weeks saving up to being able to put a down payment on a home. That's no small feat. For the energetic cleanses, I've seen people pass gallstones after listening to the first session that were the size of a quarter out of their body. No, sorry, dime. A quarter would be very alarming. Dime-sized pieces. And then in terms of some of the other courses, and all the testimonials are in the emails, so I'm not going to go into those. If you'd like more, feel free to check those out. And there's a few on my Instagram stories as well in the saved portions underneath the title testimonials. The other big one that people really love to dive into is sex, passion, and love. And there's actually 2 of those. There's more sex, passion, and love. And I'll mention spine consciousness. This one is such a useful one, especially if you are a healthcare practitioner and you're working within energy medicine domains. This guy gives you insight into the consciousness states of every single vertebrae and every single disc in between the vertebrae. So you have access to all of the other topics that I've addressed, of everything from receiving abundance, compassionate connection, springing into your life, surrendering to sport, between apathy and anxiety, addressing people pleasing. There's a really good one on treating your heart, which goes into advanced level work that isn't shared anywhere else in all the body talk. Excuse me. Excuse me. I've been waiting for that sneeze to go since we started. There's one on the chakras. I think you get the idea. There really isn't a shortage of topics out there. And additionally, as I introduce new workshops, you'll get full access to those too. So the cost on this is very, very reasonable. This is the first time I'm putting it out, so the price is a little bit lower than I would normally launch at. And you're getting it on my sale week, which means you get it for an extra 25% off right now. So the price is less than working with me for 1 session a month. It's $127 a month. That's it. If you sign up for a whole year, $12.70, that means you're getting even a greater deal than that. You're saving close to, let's see, what's the math on that? Over $300 on that. So not bad at all. When we're working within this type of a setting with using pre-recorded group sessions, I've been testing the efficacy of that for over 15 years, and I continuously get the same feedback. I thought that session was just for me, even though it was done maybe even a year ago or more, and even though we were addressing a group. Every single time at the beginning of the sessions, you'll hear me often say, all of you are welcome here, whether you're listening to this pre-recorded or you were live for the actual call itself. it doesn't matter. This is including all the people that were ever going to listen to it in the future as well, across all space and time. We've known for a very long time now in science, well over 100 years, that our experience of time isn't real. So it's actually quite easy to transcend and work in that way when we deeply understand those principles, which I've been studying, well, ever since I found physics in university. And I'm not one of those people who just, let's just take, a little bit of an article on quantum physics and say I understand the science behind it all. No, I have a degree in anatomy. I've got a degree in psychology, and I have a passion for studying all things related to science, philosophy, and psychology. And this is the perfect intersection for me to be able to apply that knowledge in the arena of healthcare to actively see really solid results. And we continuously do. Now, the great thing about this subscription is that you get access to those whenever you want them. So if you want to, really lean into issues with money or passion or your chakras or your heart or an energetic cleanse in an area, you get to do that. And you can do that at the pace that's sustainable for you. For some of you, that might mean I only have time to listen to like one session a month while I'm driving in my car. Does that work? 100%. And honestly, that's the type of lifestyle that I've sometimes found myself in too. So I know that I've had those pockets of time where I could really dive deep into it and spend a weekend and really go into it all. And there's been times in my life where I just haven't had that space and that time. So I know for myself that I've worked in this way with other people as well as my own experiences. I've been doing this for over 15 years now. So no shortage of stories, testimonials, experiences that are shared that have come through in regards to that. And I honestly don't even post most of them. What you're seeing is about 10% or even less than that, I would say. There's a lot of great work out there that's continuously being explored by y'all, and I love receiving your emails. So thank you very much for sharing those. It's said that, Cory Booker says this, you can't have a physical, pardon me, I'll say that again. You can't have a physical transformation until you have a spiritual transformation. So the running joke is that this is just a side effect, health. Yeah. When we work with the spiritual understandings and we transform that, which is what all of these workshops are geared to do, your physical health responds to that. In fact, it's a side effect. So when we treat the spirit, we're treating the mental, the emotional, the physical, all simultaneously. Okay? And the other quote that I really love for this all, the great solution to all human problems is individual inner transformation. Vernon Howard said that. Yeah. And I think that that's very accurate. And in terms of this particular experience, you're going to have the opportunity to additionally receive a couple of extra bonuses as long as you purchase by Monday nights. Okay, by Monday at 8 o'clock in my time zone. 9 o'clock in my time zone, which is 8 o'clock Mountain District time zone, 9 o'clock Central time zone, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Okay, and what you get for bonuses is a couple of things. One, you get access to my core reveal and release, which is my own modality. It's combining bioenergetics. It works with some Sedona method questioning. And it's one of the most useful tools I've seen in letting go. That's where it came from, was to develop something to assist students that were learning and in my seminars and having some issues with trying to get back on track after they might have had their own personal shift and change that was extremely profound and maybe quite emotional for them. A couple of questions calmed everything right down, and they were able to again focus on their studies. So it was a total game changer. And then I applied it in clinic and I applied it in other seminars, so much so that I actually teach one called Reveal and Release 1 and 2, which goes into more advanced work. The basics start with core reveal and release. However, you also get 50% off if you want to take Reveal and Release 1 and 2 with me at any given time. For those of you in the IBA, you'll also get credit for Free Fall 1 and 2 because Reveal and Release 1 and 2 is based on that. It includes that work, but I've added to it and I've changed it slightly over the years, again, for efficacy, to make it the most gentlest, compassionate course possible to meet you exactly where you're at and to open up. We say that in free fall courses, it's the equivalent of 100 plus body talk sessions as we're targeting opening up your core energy which for our purposes in Reveal and Release, I think more of as the hara, and then the heart chakra region. When we get these guys communicating well, we have vitality and harmony working together. There's not much that can stand up in the face of that. So it addresses the majority of physical, mental, emotional issues that people have. The recent work that I'm studying with the hara has tapped into understanding how to most effectively treat mental health things. So if we're talking suicidal ideation, anxiety, depression, it is one of the most profound centers I've seen to adequately stabilize consistently long-term treatment of mental health issues for people. And as many of you know, that is a passion of mine. Circulating back to the actual originating question of this is, how do these two subscriptions compare with everything underneath the sun to Buddhas and Butterflies, which is to support mental health in healthcare practitioners. In Buddhas and Butterflies, you get access to one session that I do per week. You can do it live or listen to the recording. And that's not actually available for purchase right now, but it will be in a few more months. Think May, hint, hint. I don't have a guaranteed date for you, but stay tuned, coming soon, okay? And for right now, be the first to know. You can sign up on the waitlist for Buddhas and Butterflies if that's of interest to you. And Buddhas and Butterflies will be at least $77 a month for access to that. You'll also get access to the pre-recorded sessions that have been done previously up till now. But it's different than what you get with everything under the sun, and I think you can see why. So you get access to all of those 40 plus seminars that are online in workshop format for you to dive into at your fingertips. And I really like that it's accessible. I've had so many times in my life where I've hit a crisis point and I am looking for a resource in that right second to help support me. This is it. You have everything you need at your fingertips for when you need it. You can dive into it the second it's required for you in your life. And I'm lucky in this field that I'm in. I've got a lot of connections, so I can reach out to a bunch of different people, and I'm pretty able to find somebody to help in that precise moment when I am in a crisis. However, there's lots of times where that can be trickier. Perhaps I'm traveling or I'm on the road. Perhaps I just don't have the wherewithal to even reach out to anybody. This is something that's incredibly accessible. All you have to do is enter in your login, your password, and boom, you've got access to what it is you need as you need it. My highest value is that of freedom. And so I really love the freedom that this affords people to explore themselves at the rate that is most supportive for them. I can't emphasize the opportunity to transform your physical health through your spiritual health enough. This is going to give rise to your ability to fully support all of you in stepping into healthy action. And in terms of the Transform Emotions into Energy seminar, you have actually a opportunity to experience all of that. But in the email that I sent out, there's one particular session that's emphasizing that work on the emotion and transforming emotions into energy. So I won't say too much about that because the video goes into more of it. You can check that out on the latest email. It's also in the Facebook post out there too. All right, loves. So I think that likely answers the majority of the questions that are out there. However, if you have other questions, make a little note and I will happily answer those questions too. Yeah. So why would you do this work? Why engage in this journey? It's giving you the opportunity to come to a new place in your life and to come from a new place in your life. It gives you the opportunity to change perspective and perhaps even change direction of where it is you're headed. So if you're interested in having a new experience in yourself, in your work, this is the place to do it. That irrational critic and doubter voice, if that's getting really, really loud, and you know what I mean, that voice that likes to really beat yourself up inside of your head, if you've got one of those that's really, really loud, this is your opportunity to help to address that. Again, if you're looking for a new perspective, one that doesn't have to register all that static noise in your environment or inside of your own head as being so loud, this is your opportunity. If you're looking to address those problems that you've been having and finding a more lighthearted way to engage with them, this is the spot. If you're ready to embrace another level of vulnerability, or you're just feeling desperate for another way, this is a great spot to be in. Okay? So if you're craving your connection to yourself, if you're looking to address your inner emotions or your emotion of choice addiction, we've all got one. Or if you're just intrigued and you want to see what this is all about, go for it. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can literally try this on for a month and decide if this is for you or if it's not. So all you need to do is sign up and no questions asked. If you're like, nope, I'm out, this isn't for me, you shoot me an email and boom, you're done. Yeah, full refund. And for those of you who are really loving the work, you keep exploring. Again, there's 3 options. I only have talked about 2 so far. There's the monthly, there's the annual, and there's a third one that's pretty sexy. It's a higher price tag, and it's a lifetime pass. So you get unlimited choice, which pays for itself within a few years. Okay? So check that all out. The link is here on the top of the Facebook post here. Check that out. And if you have any other questions, like I said, please do let me know. I'm really excited to work with you all in this way. Okay. And this is like the most accessible, cheapest way I could ever imagine offering it. So this is your opportunity. All right, loves, it's looking like we've got a bunch of people on the call now. So let's dive into our session without any further ado. I'm going to invite you, if you haven't already, to find a nice, quiet, cozy place where you can either sit or lay and be undisturbed for our work together. And beginning here by means of breathing, giving yourself a few slow, deep inhales and exhales. Using every breath as an opportunity to release and let go. And begin to feel yourself sink even deeper into that cushion below you. Okay, loves. So I'm scooping up everybody's energy that is live on the call and that will be listening to the call down the road. And when we work in this manner, I'm going to invite you just to observe yourself. So just maybe take a quick mental scan right now. Just notice how you're feeling physically. If there's any aches and pains anywhere in your body. If you're feeling rested. Maybe even feel like there's a bit of a cold coming on. And just now scanning also your mental and your emotional body. And that usually goes with the physical. And within all of this, there's usually a little bit of spiritual stuff happening. Although scanning our spiritual body isn't a practice that we're used to, let's give that a go. And just notice, is there anything in particular that you're chewing on in your life right now? Okay. And if you have a particular focus arising, if something caught your attention, perhaps most strongly, you're welcome to share it. There's something about declaring it and writing it down. If it's something very personal, I invite you just to share it in a more vague term. Or if it's really hard to do that, then even just typing a little emoji, like a heart or whatever calls to you. Okay? And your participation in this way will support this exploration. Okay. Now, the first thing that's coming up to do, we see this very commonly. I almost always see this come up in some way, shape, or form, in particular in body talk sessions, is lymphatic drainage. And we're doing it for the brain, head brain, heart brain, and gut brain. We have a pet name for it. We call it brain drain. Now, as we're working with this, we're going to very specifically be working on cleaning out any particular thoughts that just aren't useful for you stepping into fully living your truth. Okay? And as we do that, we need to also run diaphragm to intestine. So diaphragm is your center for control and emotional processing. Your intestines are what help to clean out all that stuff that you just don't need to hang on to anymore. So we're going to be running diaphragm 2 intestines at the same time. Okay, so giving this all a few slow, deep inhales and exhales. We're going to tap that all in. You're welcome to join me in tapping over the 3 brains, but not required. If you'd like to, we're just going to tap over the top of the head. Over the navel, anywhere will be your gut brain. And then anywhere over the heart. Your most important role here in receiving this work is to breathe. Okay, so giving that a few slow, deep inhales and exhales. Okay, beauty. Give that another slow, deep inhale and exhale. Now's a great time to grab a sip of water. I'm going to grab mine. All right, loves. Now, the next thing that's coming up here is to specifically focus in on the nervous system. And we're going into the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system works when we're relaxed, when we're at rest or digest. It helps to do all that healing for us in the background. And we actually need to strengthen it. We're going to connect it to, there's an acupuncture finger, there's an acupuncture point about 4 finger widths down the outside edge of the knee that helps to tonify and strengthen. So we just need to strengthen this, much like you're strengthening your muscles at the gym when you work out. We're going to be strengthening your nervous system. Okay, and as we work with this, at the same time, we also need to do an emotional release of anger from the parasympathetic nervous system about frustrations or resentments from times in which you thought you were healing and it didn't work, or you weren't healing at the rate that you wanted to, or basically any animosity inside of your own body-mind towards healing. And that might be because you've had some experiences that haven't gone very well for you. I remember after having had surgery when I was really little, I was terrified of nurses. And it wasn't really that I was fearful of anything particular that they were doing. I was more just upset with how I had perceived I was being treated as a small one in a hospital. So I was actually quite angry, but I only knew how to express it in terms of fear. Fear and anger often get mixed up. More on that and transform emotions into energy. Okay, and so think of this as working with that. At the same time, we're also going to run hydration through the nervous system, which helps the cells to absorb water and joy and release any impurities. Okay, and then that parasympathetic nervous system, we're going to connect it out through to your entire meridian system and its conduction of qi. Our nervous system energy sometimes is off, mostly off, because we're not getting sufficient uptake of qi. It's not getting that vitality. Qi is the Chinese medicine word, capital Q, lowercase I, refers to all the natural vitality and healing we have inside of our body-mind. Okay? And it's here to support you. It's here to animate you. It is your source of life from that perspective. Okay? And as we work with this all at the same time as all of this now, we actually need to head into the gallbladder. And we're working with the gallbladder meridian specifically and its conduction of qi. So our gallbladder meridian runs up our side body, it goes up into our brain. It helps us to catalyze helpful forward momentum and action. Anybody need any of that to help them live their truth? Okay. And we need to tap this all in now. So I'm actually going to take a hand over the gallbladder region, which is right about here. You're welcome to do the same. And let's tap here. Give this in a few slow, deep inhales and exhales. Okay. Give that another slow, deep breath. Grab another drink of water. Okay. I'm going through the water. I'm already on water bottle number 2 today. All right, loves. Next up, we're going to head into an endocrine. So your endocrine, let's start here. support all of your hormones in your body mind. They secrete them, they work with the balancing of them, and they actually have a boss. The boss is the pituitary. The pituitary has a boss too. It's in the limbic emotional brain. It's called the hypothalamus. So we're working with the hypothalamic connection to the pituitary to help it to regulate all of your endocrines, all of your hormones, which can include things like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, as well as things that we sometimes don't think of as hormones. Think of your thyroid hormones. Your thymus relates to your center for your higher will, your highest good, has hormones that it secretes. Thymosin is the fancy name for it all. The adrenals secreting adrenaline, your energy, your get up and your go, which can sometimes feel like it's gone up and went. So we're going to be working with all of that connection, all of that governance to, again, support your general vitality and your well-being and your health. That in turn is all linking now collectively through to the throat chakra. Now the throat chakra works with expression. However, we also have to include nonverbal communication when we think about this too. 93% of all communication isn't verbal. Only 7% of your communication is verbal. The other 93% is your energy, which introduces you long before you even enter a room. People will pick up on that and have a subconscious or an unconscious energetic communication with y'all. When we work with it in this way, know that as we link all those hormones up to the throat chakra, we're helping to optimize their expression, and we're also animating that expression to happen, not necessarily verbally, but in a non-verbal way, internally as well as externally, to support that sensual nature and its fullest expression that the endocrines are designed to bioenergetically represent. How cool is that? So this is connecting you to your expression of your sensual nature. Okay? At the same time as all of that, we need to, in parallel, address an active memory charge. That charge of an active memory is what's keeping it active. When we address the charge, we can make it more passive. We can take out that feeling of it being personal, the feeling of it having such bite or teeth. It doesn't take the memory away. It just allows us to have the memory, but in a different capacity, okay, without that same charge. And in this case, we're addressing charges in which you were shamed for being different or thinking different. Okay, and going against the grain isn't something that's honored real well in our society. We think that to survive, and this comes from very logical thinking, evolutionary speaking, that we need to be huddled together up in groups to have greater strength and power. That's not erroneous thinking at all. However, in this day and age, we're not as quite dependent on it as we thought when we were. However, our nervous system might still think that it is. So think of this as helping to address that charge around feeling all that shame around thinking different or feeling different and having literally your survival at stake because of it. With this, we're going to connect that all through to the base chakra, which works with all things to do with survival. All right, love bugs. Excuse me. I'm going to put a hand on the throat. It's probably why I'm coughing. Anytime I do throat work, I seem to end up coughing just a little bit. And then if you like, you're welcome to take another hand down to your base chakra. Okay? And I'm just going to give that a nice slow, deep inhale and exhale. Breathing here. That base chakra is right at the very base of your perineum, or the space between vagina or testes and anus. I'm going to give that one more slow, deep breath. Okay, loves. With that, I could feel the whole back body opening up. And the next piece to help integrate that is connecting the reciprocals of the shoulders to the hips. There's a few of them. Think of this as turning the circuit breakers of your body back on to their fullest power. Okay? And as we do this, it's also supporting your physical alignment, your alignment of your spirit, your mental, your emotional body, all of them simultaneously. Okay? And with that combination, you can think of it as forming like an X. X marks the spot. In the very center of that is just below the bottom of the sternum. We have our xiphoid. And the very base of that, there's an energetic center that is designed to help you receive your highest guidance and connect to that inner guidance and being able to express it. Okay? Or you can think of that as expressing your higher self, if you will. Pick your own favorite way of wording that. Excuse me. And as we do that, that expression is linking right up to the throat chakra, which is likely why I'm still clearing my throat. And as we work with this relationship, you can think of this as another form of a reciprocal. It's just in a different form. So slightly below, right by that diaphragm almost, right up to the throat chakra, slightly below that sternum area. And as these two connect, in the very center of it, there's a very powerful point, conception vessel 17, which hangs out right in the middle of the sternum. Conception vessel 17 nourishes all things to do with your yin or your feminine nature from a Chinese medicine perspective. That's half of you. If you're in a male body, you still have feminine energy. If you're in a female body, you still have masculine energy. We're about 50-50 feminine, masculine, regardless of our gender. Okay? So we need to include this point, and we're particularly working with this point to help embrace its inner rebel. I think I gave that spoiler alert, and I was actually kind of stressing out. I was like, oh my gosh, I said that in the email that inner rebel was going to come up because it felt like it was, very strongly so, and it didn't come up until now. Whew. Okay, we got there. That inner rebel piece is powerful. When we embrace our inner rebel, it gives us permission to let go of that outdated conditioning in our entire body mind. And we're doing that. Think of it as like hitting the update or the reset button on your body's computer for all things yin. Okay? And your yin is your very core nature. I talked about this a couple of days ago in the Valentine's Day session. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, go for it. Please take that up and dive into that session. It's pretty powerful. I got a lot of great feedback from it. Now, this particular area and all the work that it's doing to help let go of that outdated conditioning is working with what's ready to be the priority in terms of shifting here. We need to connect this now very specifically to the heart chakra. The heart chakra helps to work with harmony and neutrality. All right, loves. Placing a hand wherever you feel drawn to. We're going to tap this baby all out. Any of those areas that we worked with, if one of them resonated more for you for the other, placing a hand here. Breathing here. Okay. Give that a slow, deep breath. Let's really let that integrate. Grab a sip of water. Everybody hydrate. Okay. All right, loves. Up next, we're going to head into cellular repair. Cellular repair helps restore cells back to their fullest potential of health. And we're doing it very specifically for something acquired in this lifetime. This isn't necessarily something that's been passed down the family lines. And not surprisingly, it's still working with this topic of expression and expressing all of you fully. And we're going into times in which, well, mom and dad didn't care for that so much. And usually that happens in our early childhood. Think of when we're being a bit of a pain in the butt, doing all those things that go against the natural societal rules because we don't know them yet. We haven't learned them yet. And this is why we call them the terrible twos, when our children are eating toast out of the garbage and humping the pillow and other toys in front of grandma. That's all because that part of the nervous system hasn't fully developed. They don't have that conditioning. So we're going back into that particular stage of life. And this is the time frame in which you were upsetting your caregivers to the point where you were feeling like their upsetness and you were taking it on as your own. And you started to learn that you needed to people please in order to stay alive and get your needs met. So we're going to those very first times in which it dawned on you that you need to change your behavior to fit in. You know? And that doesn't mean that you're now going to not fit in. It just means that you'll actually be able to fit into yourself first, and then in turn introduce that to the rest of the world. The cost of fitting in is something that we dismiss who it is we actually really are. Okay? So we're going to look at that time frame in which it was beginning. As we do that, we're heading into the nervous system. We're going deep into the neurons. Neurons are nerve cells. Okay? And we're working very specifically with, fancy word, microtubules that help nerve cells regenerate and reproduce. And when they pull apart and one becomes two and two becomes four, etc., they multiply. The microtubules help with that. From another perspective, you can also think of those microtubules as being the blinds of consciousness. If those blinds are closed, then it can feel kind of dark inside. If the blinds are open, we're receiving the full light of who it is we are. We're just opening up the blinds of consciousness that were shut down from that particular point in time in your childhood. Okay? Giving this a nice slow deep inhale and exhale, we're going to tap this baby in, breathing here. Give that another nice slow deep breath. Okay. We're not quite done yet. We have a little bit more to do. We're going to head into the spleen. And they say in bioenergetic understandings that our spleen relates to our subconscious. When we work with our spleen energy, you're also tapping into all things to do with the limb, which helps to balance out low self-esteem, overthinking, overanalyzing. It also clears out toxins, gunk, and waste. Your lymphatic system is like the toilet of your body. It takes all that stuff that doesn't need to be here anymore and flushes it away, but it only can do that if it's adequately hydrated. Okay? So within the spleen, we're actually going to run hydration within the spleen itself to help in by extension then hydrate the rest of the lymph nodes and the lymphatic vessels to help them flush out anything that's getting in the way of you expressing your authentic who it is you are, yourself, your nature, your personality, your character, all of the above. And we can split hairs on what those all mean, not at today's point in time. No, we can dive into that later if you'd like. For this, we're also at the same time as working with the spleen here, needing to work with the gallbladder a little bit more. The gallbladder we talked about as catalyzing for momentum and action, and it does all of that. And it's meant to use the emotion of anger to do it. Anger is that force that helps to propel things forward, unless you think that your anger is yours. You think that your anger is about you. You think that your anger is personal. And it's just not. So those emotional charges that are distracting your anger energy away from being able to do what it's meant to do, to move oxygen through you, to move nutrients through you, to move your energy through you, to move, I think you get the idea, all the healing resources of the body mind through you to actively heal you. They just don't work if you're getting distracted by being angry about things that are over there and out there, and we get all verklempt and we have road rage, or we trip over the kids' Legos and we, throw a toy across the room. Pick your toys up. I'm tired of getting hurt on them. Or we get ticked off at some other events that's going on in your life. That all distracts away from that anger energy being able to heal you. We don't always think of anger as being a source of healing, and yet it is. And we know that that anger charge gets resolved out there and our anger is being used in a healthy way when that anger that seems directed out there can turn into a state of benevolence. So instead of going, screw you, how come you're ripping me off? you'll think of other ways to actually help other people. And that's a pretty drastic change, but that's what anger is actually meant to do. We're just not used to thinking about it in these terms in that way in our society in this day and age. That wisdom got lost a few thousand years ago, it might seem. So know that we're tapping into this authentic expression of anger to give you the source of energy that you need. In order to take it away from the charges out there and direct it in here, we need to do a little bit of TLC for the amygdala, which is your center for overreaction, that decides if you're going to be overreacting or responding. It uses fear, anger, and rage primarily to assess the events at hand and decide how to respond or overreact to them in accordance. When we go here, think of just adjusting it so it's not so hair triggery, and it can have a little bit more breathing room to respond. We're literally linking it into your inhale and your exhale to give it that room, that space, that opportunity to just take a breath and see what's actually happening, to feel, to hear, to taste, to smell, to fully sense more accurately, more appropriately what's happening. So think of this as repairing the relationship between that amygdala and our limbic or emotional brain through to all 5 senses. And as we do that, we're also bringing in the Wei Qi. Now, Wei Qi, real quick here, is that protective energy layer that surrounds our entire body mind. It's most impacted by our belief systems. So if we have certain thought patterns that aren't helpful to us, our Wei Qi can't protect us how it's naturally meant to. When we release our belief systems, including the belief systems, I need to protect myself, ironically, counterintuitively, then the Wei Qi can naturally just simply protect and do as it's needed to. Okay, so when we bring in the Wei Qi here, we actually need to repair the Wei Qi around this limbic or emotional brain. We're going to strengthen it. Some of you have a few little tears, micro adhesions in it. We're going to repair that too. As we repair this relationship of Wei Qi here, we're going to do it on all levels. Your Wei Qi has a lot of different frequencies. So we're working with physical, emotional, the Wei Qi that protects you to the elements, the climate, as well as the psychic Wei Qi, or electromagnetic field Wei Qi is the name that we call it now these days in Body Talk, which helps to make sure that your thoughts are, well, your own and not somebody else's. So you're not picking up on everybody else's thoughts that are out there. Okay? Now, at the same time as working with all of this stuff, we need to head into the area just below the rib cage, which is where we think of as the thoracic diaphragm is hanging out. And we're going into a spot that helps to work with receiving and expressing your pleasure, your play, and your power. So pleasure, play, and power across the board. We're addressing all of those things simultaneously. Okay? Now, as we're working with this region, there's a lot of charges here around how it is you embrace pleasure and play and your belief systems about it. So what's the connection for you between playfulness and power? What's the connection for you between pleasure and power? Do they feel like they have a harmonious relationship, or does it feel like there's a bit of a wall between those two? Okay, so I am sensing just like a little bit of a wall, and the wall is just that of fear. So we actually need to do an emotional release of fear here that's separating these two. And then we're going to link that all through to the area that is considered to be our pelvis, but this is more the upper pelvic regions that we're working with. And you can think of the pelvis as setting your basic foundation. The upper pelvis relates more to things like the top of the pubic crest, the iliac crests on the side of the hips. So we're working more with the top layer. So this is more to create a foundation that's happening more currently for you right now. Okay? So think of this as setting the stage to have a different foundation so that you can have a different experience here and now. If you like, feel free to take your hands to that area of the pelvis, and we're going to give that a nice few slow, deep inhales and exhales as we tap this all in. Breathing here, loves. Okay. To help integrate this all, we need to work with a technique called switching, which helps to cope or deal with stress. So I'm going to work with those switching reflex points. They have a lot of names: kidney 27 points, brain gym buttons. Every modality has their own name for them. And I'm going to tap here. Give this a nice slow, deep inhale and exhale. All right, love bugs. Give that a nice slow, deep inhale and exhale. Let that integrate. Grab a sip of water. Okay. And know that this is the type of work that is just scratching the surface. This is a nice, quick, little easy demo session. When we work with our more focused seminars and our online workshops, we'll be diving into numerous different opportunities to explore that wide variety of topics that I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the call. Everything from money, wealth, and valuing yourself to spine consciousness. That guy packs a punch. I've had a lot of people go, whoa, there is some heavy duty work that's happening. And that's the feedback that I tend to get with almost everybody that does that course. If you are a body talker or a healthcare practitioner of any modality, there's even a course on there that works with business basics that helps you to build your business. It's the best business building course that's out there that doesn't dive into the left brain business building stuff. You can find that stuff anywhere. This is working with the more subtle blocks of the unconscious level of what's holding you back. Okay? Same thing that we're addressing in money, wealth, and valuing yourself. The unconscious blocks behind money. Those two tend to travel really, really well together. I have a lot of practitioners who end up doing both of those simultaneously. And there's a great little 30-day reset on there called Transforming Self-Care, which is your opportunity to dive into, on a daily basis, less than 5 minutes a day, rewiring your connection of how to make life just that much easier for yourself. So that's what I like the most about everything under the sun. It gives you the opportunity to access all those explorations that we're diving into, principles of humility, honesty, authenticity, which we touched on very briefly today, compassion, gratitude, harmony, relationships with yourself, with others, intimacy, sensuality. We touched on that very briefly as well in today's session. Okay, we're going to be exploring those principles in a very deep, profound way. There's over 200 body talk sessions, so you're going to hear it from a bunch of different angles as well to help support you across those different themes that you're addressing in your life. And the great news is how we do one thing is how we do everything. So when you are on there, if you're feeling overwhelmed about which one do I pick, you can ask me for sure. I'm available for that. Or you might just go intuitively, I'm going to do that one. And that's a perfect way to do it. Whichever one you start with, it'll have an impact across almost every single thing that you're chewing on, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if you're ready to hit that pause button and find another way to commit to yourself, to putting yourself, your health first, that you're playing the game of life with just greater ease, as well as you're able to take stock and change of how it is you're doing life, come find some playfulness and some passion and feel like the human being that you really are again. There's always another way. So come explore what drives you. What are you getting from it? How has it been serving you? How has it not been serving you? So that way you can step into another way to experience your life. And in our go-go worlds, it's really, really easy to get distracted from that focus. So this is your opportunity to make one purchase. It's at your fingertips whenever you need it, and you don't even have to think about it. It's just accessible. You can have it right open on your computer or on your phone or your iPad. You can do it while you're driving. You can do it when you're at home. I really love the sanctity that my car provides because I can't do anything other than serve myself when I'm driving in my car. So that's why I keep referencing the car. If you're thinking there's no way I can drive while I'm receiving a session, then don't do that. Hang out in your tub, find a quiet place, wherever works best for you. I personally love the tub, but you do you. Right? Find your happy place to be when we're working. All right, loves, if you have any other questions, comments, queries, please shoot them my way. I think that addresses all the ones that I've received up till now. And if you got value from today's call in any way, shape, or form, I invite you to share it. Same thing with the Valentine's Day call that I did a couple days ago. They're both posted on my personal page, Allison Bachmeyer, as well as on my business page, Vibrant Transformation. And really, I invite you to check out that link to Everything Under the Sun. If you have any more questions as well, there's a lot of information on that page too. Give me an email, give me a text, give me a Facebook message, an Instagram DM, whatever's the easiest way if you'd like to explore any of this further. I really value and appreciate, I never take for granted when people share their time in this way for me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to yours. And I look forward to working together with you all as we move forward. Okay? I'm going to sign off for now. Mwah, and blow lots of love your way. Okay? Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Okay? Bye for now.